Alright, so we saved files out of Illustrator under different formats. Now we're going to look at preparing our production in InDesign, our project for publication. And we will peek at a few other things too, but for this first one, this is as if we're preparing to send our work off to a press facility. And this is pretty standard routine if you end up in that situation. So I have the Repop magazine set up here, and let's just first look at what we have for options under our exporting. So if I choose export, we have the format fields down below where we can do two different PDFs, an interactive one for like doing online, or a print one. So the difference here is that the interactive one will deal with resolution, so make it ready for a screen. It'll handle any hyperlinks that might be in there so that you can interact with them. And then the print one will just keep it at full resolution, dealing with CMYK, and make sure it's ready to go for print, right? There's the EPS again, so we know that we can export elements from InDesign as EPS files. And then we get into EPUB, which is an ebook, basically, the iBook thing that we're going to be creating in the next video. This is how you'd access that. We can export for Flash player. You can make HTML pages here in InDesign, which is pretty cool. You can deal with the markup language. You can export JPEGs and PNGs, and then some XML. So there are a lot of options as far as what you could produce from these pages. And then once you get into any of those options, it'll ask you more about your intentions. Do you want it just to print one page as a JPEG, or do you want to do all of them as JPEGs, and so on. So I'm going to cancel out of here. So what if we need to get this thing sent off to a press facility? Of course, you're going to do some things prior, like spell check. Go through, read everything, make sure it's all tight and ready, and look at your layout and make sure that everything is appropriately placed and you don't have any goofs, right? That's a pretty standard protocol for getting ready to finalize any bit of work. It's just to have your own eyes on it, have some other your roommate's eyes on it, whatever. Call mom. And then we can deal with the actual packaging of this project. And down toward the bottom we have package, and this is the process you're going to go through in order to submit your magazine for the assignment. So this package is going to ask us some questions. We have to go through and look at everything. So it kind of gives you a summary. Here's the scope of this thing. There's 7 fonts used. They're all there. There's no missing ones. There's 5 links found, which means all the different images and logos that I brought in, and so on. So all that information is there as a summary. And then you can go through and look at specifics. What are my fonts that I'm using here? These fonts are going to end up being copied and packaged into this container, which is really helpful for anyone who is going to be handling this project for you in a print facility, or if you hand it off to another designer. So we get into links and images. It tells me all my links that are here, so all the photos and the Illustrator files and whatnot. It tells me what type they are and if they're in CMYK and that they are all linked, etc. Gets into colors and so on. So you don't really have to change anything. This is just you kind of giving an assessment before we tell this thing to package. Yeah, I don't have to change anything. So I choose package. The publication must be saved before continuing. Great. Go ahead, save it. And then we have our print instructions. So here, this gets to be sort of an important part where you give the project a name, right? Who the contact is for this, which would be yourself, and if you were working for a company, you'd put your address down there, your phone number, your fax, your email, and then any other specific instructions. If there are any die cuts or if you need to make sure that the pages are assembled a certain way or whatever. All that dialogue goes in here, and this creates a text file for the printer or for the other artist who you'll be working with. So, I'll just do this real quick, just a couple of things. Greg Twig and 406-555-5555 and my email at whatever.net and some instructions. Let's print this. Alright, so when I hit continue, I get another screen that says, okay, what do you want to name the folder that this package will become? So I'll just name mine Repop Package. You guys might want to put your name on it, last name, and where is it going to go? So you have to think about the directory in your computer. Where is this thing going to live? That way you can find it later. It's kind of a no-brainer, an organization. And then, final instructions. Copy fonts? Yes. You want to copy the fonts over. Copied linked graphics? Yes. You want to make sure that those linked images also go along here. Otherwise, the person will open it up and they'll have the wrong font and the images will be blank. So it's very important. Update graphic links and package, which means that you're going to be saving a couple versions of this InDesign project file, and the images will be in a links folder, so it'll update the directory of how to find those things. Since yours probably live in some folder called pictures for class or something, that's not going to be transferred over, so it relinks the graphics. It's very handy. Down here include an IDML, which means basically an older version of the InDesign could open this. If you want to include a PDF, yes. What preset for this PDF do you want? Is it for print purposes or just to look at? It's not a bad idea to leave it high quality print just so that you have a really good fallback kind of document in case you need to. And then you hit package. And so you get some font warnings about just being cool. Be cool, don't steal stuff. And then it's telling me that there's overset text on page 3. And that just means that I had used the fill with placeholder text command, and when I applied some text wraps to my graphics on that layout, some of the text couldn't fit on the page. So it's just saying, hey, you've got text that isn't fitting on a page. As long as you know and it's so cool and it's good, then you can continue. But at this point, if it was something you go, oh shoot, really? I didn't think I did. You'd hit cancel. You'd go to page 3. You'd try to find out where that overset text is, and then correct it. So I'm gonna hit OK, and it shouldn't take too long. For some reason, there's a little front end. I think what it's doing is it's just building the structure of the folder and collecting the files and stuff. So there, it's now done. And if I try to go find this, I've got my Repop package right here, and it gives me my IDML file, which is for older versions. It gives me the CC version that I have here. I have my text file for the instructions, and this is where there's my phone number and my name and some instructions. And then it's got all this other stuff that the printers need about what the special colors are, what different links are found in this document, and so on. So I have a folder for the links, so it collected my images and my Illustrator files. Everything that I used in my project is here, and then the fonts. So there are the fonts that are packaged and ready to be installed on the machine that would be handling this project for me. That way I won't have any trouble with them. So that is how you create a package for press and InDesign. It's not that hard. And it's kind of cool to see that happen. And there's also this little rewarding moment when you see that all tidy in there. And it's also just a really good way to wrap up your project personally. So you might have things everywhere all over your computer that you're using because you're not very organized. Well, this is your chance to be like, all right, let me get organized, and you package it just for yourself. That way you know that where those files live now. You can get rid of the other ones, trash them, do some cleanup work, whatever, and it just tidies it up. Especially good if you archive and back up your work. This is a really good thing to do. So there you have it. See you on the next one.